No, yeah, it's exactly like you said. So we have Eke, Orie, Afo, Nkwo, right? This is the four, they call them the four market days or Moano, the four spirits, right? So the reason these days have their different rules is because each of these days is a specific Iuwa, right? Which means a universal stream. It's a door, right? So a different aspect of the universe opens itself on each day, right? What is the example? My next video I'm actually releasing is on the four market day, so this is very apt. I'll be releasing, I think. Well, anyways, I don't know when you put this out, so I won't say any dates, but it's going to be the next one. So, one of the things that's interesting too is that like Eke Day, on Eke Day, you don't go to the farm, like you said. You don't enter a bush. You cannot enter a forest until on Eke Day. You don't really do work. It's a day of rest, that kind of thing. It's a day of relaxation. That is the nature of that specific day. The next day is Orie Day. Orie is associated with water. Orie is associated with the western direction, the direction west, right? Now on Orie Day, there's going to be, like you said with your community, there's going to be a community that has the Orie market, and that is the only market that's allowed to be open. The Eke and Nkwo, the other markets will close, but Orie market will be open. You understand? On Afo Day, the third day, the Afo market opens, the other markets close. Nkwo Day, the Nkwo market opens, the other markets close. And it creates this cycle where all of the communities in the area need each other. They're intermixed with each other. They can't, they become one or united with each other and that kind of thing. And it creates, like you said, balance so that wealth doesn't hemorrhage. This is one of the original designs that prevented wealth from hemorrhaging in one place and not another, right? If you look at like what's one of the issues they suffer with in the West right now is that how do we deal with the issue of urban sprawl, right? What's urban sprawl? All of the value in town is concentrated in the middle, and everything pans out from there and becomes a little bit less whatever, useful. And because it's less useful, we have to keep more and more and more. And then the towns end up being built in a very specific way that people are now trying to rethink. How can we redo this thing and prevent issues with sprawl and so forth? Because sprawl comes with a whole lot of issues. But one of the issues it comes from is that there's a hemorrhaging of wealth in one place. And so then there's a major wealth imbalance.
Somebody that is from Lagos should be listening to what you're saying, because that is one of the problems that we're having in Nigeria. That all the facilities are put in one place. Now people are asking, why are many in Nigeria coming to Lagos? You should have think, no? Look at this. They are not crazy.
Yeah.
If we find a solution to what they are coming to look for in their places, they will stay in their places. It's not that they are crazy. It's just because the way the society is structured, society telling them, hey, all of you go to Lagos, no?
Right. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Because we are talking about spirituality, and you did make mention of the masquerade, and you like masquerade, I want you to tell me what is the connection between masquerade and spirituality? Or actually, what is the role of masquerade in Igbo spirituality?
Wonderful. Oh man, that it would be 2 or 3 podcasts long if I were to explain the whole thing, but I can give you some interesting things here and there. So we have this concept in the modern day where we say, oh, that Africans didn't write down their history, Africa didn't write down their history. Absolutely not true. But we did it in a very different way than what somebody who would be saying that would be used to, right? So not the whole role, but one of the roles of the masquerades is an account of history, right? Why do I say this? There is a very specific way a masquerade is supposed to look. There's a specific way it's going to dance. There's a specific time of the year it comes out. There's a specific direction it walks, right? And there's specific rules that go around this particular masquerade. You understand? So there are some masquerades you will look at, right? And you think, okay, I'm seeing somebody just being creative and putting things together, putting on a show. Look closely, right? So you look at the masquerade and all of a sudden it's like, wait, he looks like he's wearing camouflage for a forest. This looks like somebody who's wearing camouflage for a forest. Wait, this person looks like a traveler. If you look at it, it looks like a traveler. I'm going to use an example. A good friend of mine pointed this out. I wasn't even the one to point it out. In my community, we have a masquerade called Okorosha, right? Okorosha is one of the main masquerades of the area. And in fact, my community is kind of famous for it. And one thing you'll notice about the Okorosha is all black, and it's wearing a skirt of raffia, and it has a hat like a hair, like raffia, like hair, almost like that kind of thing. And Okorosha in the past was very fierce, right? If you disrespect Okorosha, it could kill you, or it can assault you, that kind of thing, right? It was a very fierce masquerade. People feared it. It's become a little kinder now and so forth. But me and my friend were talking about how the masquerades are actually, if you look at it, it's an account of history, right? Now, look at what the Okorosha does. The Okorosha comes out on Orie Day, right? When it comes out, it walks a specific path. And then when it's leaving, it begins to say, or the community is now supposed to refer to it as Isu. And we use the term Isualala. Isualala leads on Oriente. Isualala, that kind of thing, which means Isu is leaving. Isu is leaving. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Now, if you look at my community, the Orie market is pointing towards a community known as Isu in central Igbo land. And if you look at that masquerade, what my friend pointed out to me was that this masquerade seems to have some connection to water. Orie is connected to water. And the masquerade is wearing water gourds, several things that you would wear if you were traveling, if you were a traveler, right? And then it goes to a specific place, and we call it Isu. Isu is going home. Isu is going home. Now, what I know about Okorosha is supposed to represent our original ancestors in that land. So this display, what is it saying? That my people, based on this masquerade, came from this Isu place and settled on this place. Perhaps on Orie Day, not sure. Settled, they came through water. And there's a river that you can follow called Njaba that leads you directly to Isu. You understand? There are masquerades. There's a masquerade in Gabon. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But it's said to come from the north. They say it moves north to south. You understand? And it is holding a branch of Ogrishi, a plant called Ogrishi. If you move further into that north they were talking about, into Cameroon, they also have the same masquerade or a similar one holding the same stick of Ogrishi. If you move into what we now call the Cross River area, immediately after Cameroon, they have the same one that is holding this same plant, right? That type of thing. What is that telling me? So I go and research what is Ogrishi used for. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not Ogrishi. The plant. I'm trying to remember the name of the plant. I don't remember it right now, but the specific plant it was holding. That specific plant is an anti-malarial medicine, right? And the story I'm seeing is that a group of people move from north to south holding this medicine. Because when you move down lines of latitude, it's very difficult to do historically because then your the diseases and the illnesses in the different places change on going up and down. Go side to side, you're fine. So most human migration is side to side, but the Bantu migration is unique because it went from north to south. In theory, it went from north to south, right? That masquerade matched the accounts of what we're now calling the Bantu migration, and it gave you a little more insight, right? Because the masquerades always have something on their forehead and the same bushel of leaves of medicine, right? So it told me that we were able to make this up and down movement, right? North to south movement that is unique in history by use of this anti-malarial medicine. That's what I saw in that masquerade. So masquerades are extremely powerful because they tell you the story. Our ancestors often recorded things the way we record them today, which is in action, in film. Let's call it film. Let's call it television. Let's call it the Obehi podcast, right? We're physically seeing these things enacted. You know, if I go to watch a reenactment of Nelson Mandela, that is a recorded history. It's a recording of the events. If I watch the Invictus movie that has Mandela, or if I watch a movie about Martin Luther King, it's the same thing as reading it on physical pieces of paper, right? And so the masquerades function in many different ways. But one of the ways that were particularly stuck out to me as a nerd for history is the fact that they are walking museums and they are films. So when you see a masquerade, pay attention to what it's wearing, pay attention to how it behaves, the day it comes out, where it goes, and what it's holding, and you'll then see something. You'll now see that, okay, our ancestors were doing something, right? That kind of thing.